We all shook our heads, baffled. "No way," Liam exclaimed. "This is impossible." "I don't know what to think anymore," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. The square was perfect, too perfect. Each tent stood at the corner of an invisible rectangle, their angles sharp and symmetrical. In the center lay a small pile of objects, a tattered book, a rusty compass, and some old coins scattered haphazardly. It looked like something out of a movie set. But this wasn't Hollywood, it was Wyoming, and we were nowhere near any civilization. My heart pounded in my ears as I stepped forward cautiously. The air felt thick with dread, as if someone or something had been watching us. Liam grabbed his flashlight from inside the tent and shone it on the ground around the circle. There were no footprints leading up to the pile, nothing. Yet everything seemed so deliberately arranged. Maya knelt down beside me, her face pale. "What do you think happened?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I have no idea," I admitted, my mind racing. "Maybe animals, but why would they leave these things here?" Chloe pointed toward the trees behind us. "Look, there are tracks heading into the woods." She shined her light through the dense undergrowth. "They look human, not animal." A chill ran down my spine. Human tracks in the middle of nowhere? We followed them slowly, keeping our voices low. The forest grew darker and denser. The moonlight barely penetrated the canopy overhead. Suddenly, the trail ended abruptly. Before us was a massive tree, its trunk gnarled and ancient. Its branches reached out like skeletal fingers, reaching for the night sky. At first glance, there was nothing unusual about it. Then Chloe gasped softly. "Do you see that?" She pointed upward. I squinted against the darkness. "What?" I whispered. "Something hanging from one of those branches." My flashlight beam flickered across the tree. For a moment, I thought I saw movement. Then I realized it was just shadows playing tricks. "Let's keep going," I urged, though my chest tightened. "Stay close," Liam warned. "Whatever moved last night isn't done yet." He didn't need to say anything else. His tone alone sent chills down my spine. We continued deeper into the forest, the silence pressing down on us like heavy fog. Every twig snap echoed ominously. Every branch creak sounded like a warning. Finally, after what felt like hours, we stumbled upon another clearing. Here, nestled among the trees, was a structure unlike anything I'd ever seen. It was a dilapidated cabin, its wooden frame leaning precariously. Vines clung to every surface, wrapping themselves tightly around the rotting wood. The windows were shattered, their frames dark voids. The door hung open, inviting us inward. Or perhaps trapping us. "Should we go in?" Maya asked hesitantly. "Probably not a good idea," Liam muttered. "Unless we want whatever did this to come back tonight." But curiosity got the better of us. One by one, we entered the cabin. Inside, the air reeked of decay. Dust motes floated lazily in the beams of our lights. Everything within the cabin was covered in grime and cobwebs. The furniture was long gone, but remnants of lives once lived lingered. Old photographs lined the walls, each showing faces frozen in time. Some were smiling, others grimaced in fear. All bore the unmistakable mark of age, as if the images had aged along with the cabin itself. On the floor, strewn amongst broken glass, were more items than we'd left outside. Books, trinkets, even pieces of clothing. These weren't ours. They belonged to strangers. Whoever had been here before us. That realization hit hard. We hadn't been targeted specifically. This thing, whoever or whatever it was, had taken random people over generations. Finn, the narrator, continues his story. He describes how he and his friends found strange symbols carved into the cabin walls. He explains how they tried to escape but couldn't. Their car wouldn't start. Their phones had no signal. And then the whispers began. Soft murmurs filled the room, growing louder each second. They turned quickly, scanning the corners. But the source remained elusive. The whispers morphed into laughter, a sickening sound that echoed off the walls. The laughter grew closer, almost mocking. It surrounded them, closing in tighter with each breath. Finn pauses, letting the tension build. He says, "We knew then we were trapped." He goes on to describe how they tried to call for help, how they screamed until their throats burned raw. Yet still no response came. The laughter faded, replaced by a chilling silence. When morning finally broke, Finn continues. They discovered something horrifying. Our tents were exactly where we'd left them, perfectly aligned again. But now new additions joined them, fresh footprints leading away. The next morning, we found the campsite empty. We searched every inch of the area, but there was no sign that anyone had ever been there. No footprints in the mud or dirt. No remnants of a fire pit or scattered trash. Not even any indication that our tents had stood at all. It's as if they'd never existed. I can still hear that sound sometimes. A low rumble like distant thunder. Or maybe it's just my imagination. But I know what I heard, and I don't think I'll ever forget how it felt. The ground shaking beneath us, the trees swaying without wind, and the feeling of being watched by something huge, something ancient and malevolent. Since then, Liam has moved away. He says he couldn't handle staying here anymore, that the woods were too close to home for him. I haven't seen him since. Sometimes late at night when I'm alone, I catch glimpses out the window. They look like shadows moving between the trees, just beyond the reach of the porch light. When I step outside to investigate, there's nothing but silence. Yet I feel them watching me from the darkness, waiting for an invitation back into my life. My parents have noticed changes in me too. I sleep less than I used to, and I avoid going near those woods entirely. Even driving past on the highway gives me chills. There are nights where I wake up gasping, my heart pounding with the memory of running through those darkened paths, desperate to escape whatever lurks within. I try not to let fear consume me completely, though. After all, it could be worse. At least now I have this story to tell. Maybe someone else will find comfort knowing they aren't alone in their fears about the unknown. Perhaps one day you might stumble upon these woods yourself. If so, please heed my warning. Don't venture down its winding trails after sundown. You won't come back unscathed mentally or physically. Whatever lies hidden among those gnarled branches isn't meant for human eyes. Leave well enough alone before curiosity leads you astray. For your sake and mine both, let's keep some mysteries unsolved forevermore. This is my final message to you today. Take care out there. Stay safe wherever you may roam. Thank you for listening until now. Please share this tale if you wish. Just remember that once shared means twice told, so tread lightly while doing so. As always, stay curious yet cautious. Until next time, farewell. P.S. If you enjoyed hearing this chilling account from my friend's perspective, please consider subscribing below for more tales like this one. Your support helps ensure future stories get published without delay or interruption. Plus, who knows, by subscribing now, you might receive exclusive content later on. Thanks again for tuning in, and hope you stick around long enough to discover new adventures together soon. In case you missed anything earlier, here's another chance to subscribe. Click that button right beside this video so you won't miss another spine-chilling story coming soon. Trust me, you won't regret joining our community, filled with captivating narratives designed specifically for thrill seekers like yourselves. So why wait? Hit subscribe already and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates whatsoever. Let's explore more mysterious worlds together, one episode at a time. Remember, sharing is caring. Help spread awareness about our channel by liking this post and tagging 3 friends who love horror stories as much as you do. Together we can grow stronger each week while discovering fresh material tailored exclusively towards our interests. Finally, thanks again for sticking around till now. Feel free to leave comments below asking questions regarding specific topics covered throughout this series. That way I can better tailor future episodes accordingly, based off audience feedback received thus far. Alrighty folks, take care out there. Until we meet again sometime very soon. The reference to the square was a jarring echo of Finn's story, which I had heard years ago but dismissed as a drunken tale. What square? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Eleanor and Owen exchanged nervous glances. Owen finally spoke up, his tone heavy with dread. It's an old legend, mostly whispered among locals. They say that long before this place became a park, it was home to a small settlement. One night during a particularly harsh winter, the entire town vanished without a trace. No bodies were ever found, no signs of struggle, just empty homes left behind. Some believe they were taken by something inhuman, something lurking beneath the surface. Others think it was madness or disease. But those who know the truth speak of a ritual, a summoning gone wrong, a group seeking power from dark forces, invoked something beyond their understanding. And when it came for them, there was nowhere to run. I shook my head, trying to dismiss the chills creeping down my spine. This is just folklore, right? Just stories told around campfires. There's nothing real about any of this. But deep inside me, I knew better. Something felt off. We continued our hike through the woods, but now every rustle of leaves made us jump. Every shadow seemed alive. As we rounded another bend, we stumbled upon a clearing where the trees thinned out, and the ground stretched flat ahead of us. In the center stood a large stone circle, its stones worn smooth over centuries. My heart pounded in my ears. Finn had described exactly such a spot. He said he saw figures standing within its confines, their forms shifting unnaturally. Before I could react, Eleanor stepped forward, her curiosity outweighing her caution. "Let's go closer," she urged, her hand brushing against mine as if seeking reassurance. Against all reason, I followed her. As we approached, the air grew colder, heavier. Shadows danced at the edges of my vision, whispering promises of secrets untold. Then I saw them, standing motionless within the circle, were three tall, dark figures, their heads tilted slightly downward, almost like they were listening for something. Their faces were obscured by shadows, but their eyes glowed faintly, piercing through the darkness like embers. I froze, unable to move. Eleanor gasped beside me, her breath visible in the frigid air. "What are they doing here?" she stammered. Her words hung in the stillness between us. The figures didn't respond. Instead, one slowly lifted its head toward us, revealing a face twisted into a grotesque smile. Its teeth were sharp, jagged, too human, yet something about it felt unnatural. Another figure turned its head, mimicking the first. Both grins widened impossibly wide, showcasing rows of needle-like teeth. The third remained facing away, its back rippling with movement as though breathing. Without warning, the two figures nearest us lunged forward, their movements fluid and predatory. I grabbed Eleanor's arm, pulling her backward. But the forest floor shifted beneath our feet. The ground seemed to come alive, roots curling upward like fingers reaching for us. Our boots sank deeper into the earth, each step feeling more insurmountable than the last. Panic surged through me. I yanked on Eleanor's wrist, shouting for her to run, but the roots tightened their grip. The creatures advanced, their smiles never faltering. One reached out a skeletal hand, fingers stretching toward us like claws. I screamed, but the sound caught in my throat. The creature stopped inches from my face, its grin wider than any living thing should have. It leaned close enough for me to smell decay, to feel the cold press of its breath. "You shouldn't be here," it rasped, its voice cracking like dry wood. "Not while we wait." The final figure turned, then revealing its own face. It wasn't monstrous, instead it looked almost familiar. Its features mirrored mine, only distorted. Its lips parted as if smiling, though its expression remained blank. "Welcome home," it whispered. Everything went black. When I woke, I lay sprawled across the dirt road, leading back to civilization. Eleanor sat next to me, pale and trembling. She pointed frantically towards the horizon. "Look, they're coming after us." I blinked, disoriented. Three dark shapes emerged from the distance, moving deliberately toward us. Their heads bobbed rhythmically, their mouths opening and closing silently. I scrambled to my feet, adrenaline pumping. We ran, not bothering to look back. The sounds of pursuit faded quickly, thankfully. But even now, whenever I walk past a mirror, I catch fleeting reflections of those things, always watching, always waiting. Sometimes I swear I hear whispers calling my name, soft and inviting. "My name is Caleb. This happened 2 months ago. I was going through a rough divorce and needed solitude, absolute isolation from the world that had failed me. So I drove deep into Grizzly Flat Forest, Northern California, using old, unofficial coordinates to find a place where no one would follow, a place so remote it felt like home. The forest swallowed my car whole. No roads, no signs of human life for miles, just trees, silence, and an oppressive weight. As dusk fell, I parked on a narrow clearing, the kind you only see in nightmares. A single tent stood ahead, its canvas stained with dark mildew, sagging as if weighted down by something unseen. It looked abandoned, maybe decades old, but curiosity got the better of me. I approached cautiously. Inside, there were remnants of a life long gone. A decaying sleeping bag, a small leather journal. The pages were covered in tally marks, organized not in groups of 5 or 10, but 7. Hundreds of them marked off years of solitude, of someone who had chosen this place, and then vanished without a trace. I pocketed the journal. That night I was jolted awake. Whispers filled the air around me, soft at first, then growing louder, more insistent. They came from all directions, circling my tent. Not just one set of footsteps now, but 3 or 4 pacing back and forth, their rhythm slow and deliberate. Then the zipper to my tent was violently pulled open. When it held fast, the person outside began to rake, something sharp against the nylon. A sickening scratching sound that meant they were trying to cut their way in. I screamed, my voice a ragged shout. "I have a rifle! Get away from my tent!" The scratching stopped immediately. Then came the retreat. Rapid, panicked bare feet slapping the earth, running away in 3 distinct, diverging directions. And when dawn broke, I crept out, rifle still in hand, my heart pounding harder than any fear could explain. I looked toward the old canvas tent. It was gone. The ground where it had stood was pristine, the grass untouched. What remained was an absolute circle of bare footprints. Different sizes, different depths surrounding my campsite. They led my eye to a nearby ancient oak. Cut into the bark were fresh tally marks. 7 groups of 7, identical to the journal, with the start of an 8th group. It was a count, and I had broken the cycle. Just below the carving hanging from a low branch was the mutilated carcass of a small bobcat. Its eyes were wide open, frozen mid-screech, its body stiff and unnatural. It wasn't natural. This wasn't a display, it was a warning. A grotesque, ritualistic threat meant only for me. I packed up faster than I knew possible, abandoning my solitude and my grief. Now I know these places are not empty. They are home to a coordinated, unseen presence that marks time and ensures once you are within its square, your days are counted. I still have the journal, and I check the last page every morning, praying the count doesn't start again. Just below the carving hanging from a low branch is the mutilated carcass of a small bobcat. Its eyes are wide open, frozen mid-screech, its body stiff and unnatural. It isn't natural. This isn't a display, it's a warning. A grotesque ritualistic threat meant only for me. I pack up faster than I know possible, abandoning my solitude and my grief. Now I know these places are not empty. They are home to a coordinated, unseen presence that marks time and ensures once you are within its square, your days are counted. I still have the journal, and I check the last page every morning, praying the count doesn't start again. Just below the carving hanging from a low branch is the mutilated carcass of a small bobcat. Its eyes are wide open, frozen mid-screech, its body stiff and unnatural. It isn't natural. This isn't a display, it's a warning. A grotesque ritualistic threat meant only for me. I pack up faster than I know possible, abandoning my solitude and my grief. Now I know these places are not empty. They are home to a coordinated, unseen presence that marks time and ensures once you are within its square, your days are counted. I still have the journal, and I check the last page every morning, praying the count doesn't start again. Just below the carving hanging from a low branch is the mutilated carcass of a small bobcat. Its eyes are wide open, frozen mid-screech, its body stiff and unnatural. It isn't natural. This isn't a display, it's a warning. A grotesque ritualistic threat meant only for me. I pack up faster than I know possible, abandoning my solitude and my grief. Now I know these places are not empty. They are home to a coordinated, unseen presence that marks time and ensures once you are within its